Hello, this is RSN8887 again. Today I want to show you one of my favorite Commodore 64 games of all time. This is a classic. It's called H.E.R.O, H.E.R.O. And this game we played this a lot as kids. The demo is running now without sound, but I will turn on the sound in a second. So this game, H.E.R.O, stands for Helicopter Emergency Rescue Operation. And it is really a classic. I think most people will put this in their top 10 of best Commodore 64 games, and I feel the same way. I think it would be in my top 5 even. It is so good. This is actually a port. The game was ported to the Commodore 64 in 1984. The original was an Atari 2600 game, but I really like the graphics of the C64 version. Okay, let's get started. My plan is to do a Let's Play today with my Competition Pro joystick here on my MiSTer FPGA. Here I'm using the newest C64 Core from August this year. So there you go. So in this game, you control this guy here with his backpack, propeller backpack. And you can walk around left and right, and then you can press up to fly. And then you can also push down to put some dynamite down. And so I will do a Let's Play. I think I can finish this game, all the levels at least. But we'll see, and I will try to explain why I like this game so much. So first of all are the controls. They are super snappy and responsive. The flying mechanic, I also love this. So notice how I can walk across this hole. Normally, I would fall down the hole, but if I press up while walking, I will start rotating my propeller and will start to fly. When I press up, the propeller will rotate faster and faster, and with some delay, I will fly up. So one of the tricks we noticed already as kids is that when you enter a new room, you can hover a little bit at the top to see what's going on. There are also enemies in this game. So you explore these caves and you have this laser that you can shoot with fire button to take care of some of the enemies. And here's the first person I rescued right now. On the bottom, you have the power. This is like a time limit. You have your 3 lives there, the dynamite and the score and the level indicator. And there are these walls. I can't pass through these walls. I have to use dynamite. Now, for the dynamite, once it's ignited, once it's burning, I have to run away from it, otherwise it will kill me. Sometimes there's multiple paths. You kind of can learn by heart, but also just explore a little bit. So in that time, in the 80s, I think developers were really trying to come up with new ideas of how to make games fun to control and play. And this flying mechanic with the propeller, which is a little bit delayed always and requires you to learn the timing of how to hover and how to give your propeller some time to start rotating, because it takes like a second or so, was one of those mechanics. And we also have some gravity here where you always fall down, right? So I think developers were really trying to make games more interesting. So it's not just, you know, something like Pac-Man where you just directly control left, right, up, down. Here there is something more to it. There's some gravity, there's an interesting flying mechanic. Another game that falls into that category for me is Space Taxi, where you control this taxi that is pulled down by gravity all the time. Another game that would be in my top 5 because it's so fun to control. You can just run through this game, rush through it, but also becomes challenging later. Okay, another thing I really like about this game is the graphics of the caves in this Commodore 64 version. Notice there are all these spider webs. The enemies, the spider, yes, it looks primitive, simple, but also scary, because you notice it's just like, it looks like a scary spider that's really big. Another cool thing is the light bulbs. Up there, there's one of the light bulbs. If I accidentally touch one of these light bulbs, the lights will go out. But I can still see my laser because it glows in the dark, and I can still see my silhouette a little bit. If I now use a dynamite, the room lights up for a split second, and when the dynamite explodes, it flashes. This is such an immersive effect of the light in this game, which back in the day was super interesting. because games didn't have such lighting effects and shadows and stuff like that usually. Can I make it through here? I think I am in a dead end. I have to go the other way. So it becomes so scary when the cave now is dark because I touched the light bulb. Here, these flying enemies. The patterns of the flying enemies are actually a little bit different than in the original Atari VCS version or Atari 2600 version. So I've played this game my whole life, and I just recently got to the end of the final level, which is level 20, because it does become quite challenging. I also like how the color changes in this game, and how you really feel like you're exploring these dangerous caves. Now we see for the first time the red deadly walls. These are made of lava or something. You cannot touch them, you will die. When I turn off the light, notice that the walls are glowing in the dark as well, because I think they are just made from some kind of magma stone or something that is just glowing in the dark. Here's one of those walls, so I need to get close to it to put my dynamite, but I shouldn't get too close to it so I don't touch it and die. Put the dynamite, run away from it. Here another one, put the dynamite, run away from it. On the bottom we see the groundwater. So this is like a bit of foreshadowing that we will have to deal with the water later, and we will reach the groundwater level. The original version, the Atari version, was much cleaner. It didn't have all the spider webs in the background and all that detail. It just had kind of square walls, and that was it. Which is also cool. It's just a different look. This game came out on cartridge on the Commodore 64. Later there was also a disc version, but what I'm playing here is the cartridge version. You could just insert it into the back of your computer and then the game would immediately start after a reset. So you can see that often when I enter a room, I hover a little bit at the top, just for a second or so to see what I'm getting into. Because it's very easy in this game to accidentally just fly into an enemy or something if you're going a little too fast. There was that effect again of the explosion of the dynamite. The Commodore had a feature where programmers could change the graphics of the whole screen quickly, because the graphics were made up out of little tiles, like characters. It's called charset graphics. And the charset, which are the characters, the tiles that the game is made, the background graphics are made up of, they can be changed and animated. And maybe that's the effect they used here to make the dark, to turn the cave into a dark cave and then make it flash. What I also love about this game is the variety. There is always something new that appears. First, we have already seen these red deadly walls, but then there's also new types of rooms, new paths to explore, and new gameplay elements appear in the later levels, which keep the game varied and interesting. Oh, here it becomes a little bit dangerous already. Now we see we have reached the groundwater level. The green water there on the bottom is deadly. I must avoid it. And because of the propeller flying mechanic, this is not as easy as it might look, because this propeller always has a little bit of delay of actually starting up. It's kind of like a helicopter when it starts, you know, it needs a little bit of time to actually lift off. At the end of each level, when you rescue the person, you get bonus points, and I think every 20,000 or so points, you get an extra life. You can see I already have 5 lives now because I got a few extra lives. This is something games did back then. You often, a game would seem almost impossible, and then you realize how many lives you get from your score, and all the extra lives kind of add up and make the game a bit more easy once you learn how to play it. I also like the sound of the propeller. And the sound of the dynamite, how cool. It even sizzles before it explodes. You have to remember, you know, this is a game from 1984. Computers couldn't do photorealistic graphics back then. Developers just had to find other ways to immerse the player into these worlds. Here we go. So I will go down here. Whoa, see? There I would have died if I had just fallen down. So I need to go over here. And these faces, these snakes, also require sometimes a bit of patience because they move in a certain way. Here are some enemies, you know, they give me points. It says 50 points, 75 points. Here again, it was helpful to hover at the top of the room. Here I need to hover above the lava at the bottom. I like how the lava is animated down there. It's like a little wave. Okay, here is the first raft, basically. It's a little raft. I can land on it, and it automatically transports me across, and then I have to lift off again on the other side. And lifting off the raft is also not as easy because of that delay. So the raft will actually go backwards and forwards, and it can be a problem if you lift off when it's directly underneath something dangerous. Here we go. Now it's starting to, I'm in level 11, and it's starting to get challenging. I try to avoid turning off the light so I can see where I'm going. Here I have to turn off the light, but that's fine. The enemies are still visible in the shadow. Okay, this is also challenging. Yeah, I pressed up on the joystick too early. Now I made it. What I also like about this game is it's fun to play it over and over again. It just doesn't stop being fun. You can play for high score. You can try to beat your score even if you've seen all the levels. Because the controls, the level design just makes it really fun to play. And also it's a quick play. You know, if you have 15 minutes or so, you can probably play through this game in like 20 minutes. And you don't have to invest a whole evening. You can just play a quick round of H.E.R.O and then play something else. You see, I just went around that light bulb there. Here, I hover and then move through this really narrow passageway. I mean, it's with such simple graphics, but you really feel like you're in these caves, and you're getting further and further down into the cave system. I also like the animation of the H.E.R.O, like how he has the propeller on his backpack, and how you can see the rotation of the propeller. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast. Here I have to push up and sideways to make sure I don't fall onto the spider. Here I have to lift off in just the right way to not bump into this bat. It's looking good so far. I'm in level 12 and I haven't even lost a single life. So I should mention, I always play without cheats, trainers, or solutions. So when I die, I die. then I will just try again or stop. And I also try to not look at any maps of the game or anything else that I would consider cheating. Because if you look at a map for this, somebody has probably drawn a map and posted it online, but if you look at the map for this game, then what is the point of exploring these caves if you already know where to go? I think it's much more fun to figure it out yourself. So here, after you play it a bunch of times, most of the paths through the caves are easy to remember. In fact, I think I have a little trick, because if I remember right, the good path through the cave is usually the one that's more dangerous. So if there's an enemy, if there are two paths where one has an enemy and one doesn't, it's usually good to choose the path where there's an enemy, because that's usually the correct one, and the one that looks easy at first is the dead end usually. Although later on in the game this changes. I think the level design is quite good. I almost died. Okay, we are already in level 14. No life lost so far. I feel like these snakes have become faster now. Oh, I almost fell into the bed. See, I would say the center path is the correct one. I don't remember this, because it has the enemy. So let's try. Let's see. Yeah. And here we see for the first time the moving walls. They will crush you. Now this is the wrong path. So here there was an enemy, but that was not the right path. So you see, I have almost no room to run away from the dynamite. I don't understand why he shoots the laser directly from his eyes, from his helmet. But that's just how it is. Dynamite and go. He doesn't put the dynamite. I think there is, you have to push down, hold down just like half a second to actually, put down the dynamite. If you just tap down, it's not enough. Here we go. Okay, you might have noticed that the levels are getting longer and longer the further I go. I think this is the correct path. I will just try it. No. Even though it looked like the more difficult path, that wasn't the correct one. That was a dead end. And now I have wasted one of my sticks of dynamite. I only have 4 sticks of dynamite left. Okay, I saw the right path is the correct one. It turns off the light, but it's the only way. That looks good. That's not good. I have to go to the center here. So a little bit of backtracking as well. And here's one of those walls. If you try to pass at just the wrong time, it'll crush you. That sound when you die, this bling. When I was a kid, it scared me so much. And I still find it scary when it happens, because you get, it's so unexpected, suddenly bang, you're dead. Okay, now this one. I have no dynamite. Okay, there is something you can do if you're out of dynamite. You can shoot the wall for a very long time with your laser, and you see how it dissolves slowly. But it takes time. And you see on the bottom, my power is always going down. So at some point, if you try to shoot too many walls, you will just run out of energy. It'll just take too long. But one wall is not a big problem. Level 16. I like how the colors of the rooms change. To go to the right. Even though the Commodore 64 had thousands of games, I think there are probably over 10,000 games for the system. Games that had such responsive and, I would say, perfect controls and fun gameplay were pretty rare. So this is really one of the best. Developers were still trying to figure out how to make games fun. And a lot of games from back in the day, they really have kind of sluggish controls, or the level design is just not fun. So if you like to try out some Commodore 64 games, it helps to look at some of the best lists of top 10 or so, because if you just randomly try them, there are so many of them. There are so many games. If you look at the Game-Base 64, for example, there are so many thousands of games. The chances you find a good one by chance randomly are small. So it helps. Just pick a top 10 or top 50 list, like on Lemon 64, and try out the best ones. I mean, if you don't remember them from your if you don't remember them from your childhood. For me, it helps because we had so many games as children, so I kind of remember which ones are the good ones in my mind that I like. Okay. So the enemies have become a bit faster now, and they also changed their pattern. And we have situations here where I have to fly in more dangerous ways. Here is a tentacle that comes out of the water. Another new thing happening here in level 17. Whoa. And also, these rooms sometimes now require me to get dangerously close to the water. As kids, we always said the water sucks you in, but it doesn't suck you in. It's just gravity letting you fall. But we always be careful, the water sucks you in. Ooh. It might look like I'm just walking across the hole, the abyss, but I'm not walking, I'm flying. You see, when you start flying, he walks a little bit. He can walk a little bit in thin air until he lifts off. So with some practice, pressing up to engage your propeller goes a long way in this game. I'm feeling pretty good about this. It's already level 18. The game has 20 levels. So I'm getting close to the final level. Final stage. But these fast enemies are also very annoying. Oh, and these walls, of course. Just barely made it. These flying enemies, they... Okay. Another tentacle and a flying enemy. I'm glad I passed that. I finished that room. It's fun to... There's always, in my mind, this question, how does the next room look? What's happening in the next room? Ah! Big motivation in this game, I feel like. Okay, this is hard because, you see, I want to fly underneath the wall, but I don't want to hit the wall. And the delay from my propeller allows me to do just that. Because it allows me to hover for a little bit without flying upwards. Level 19. And lots of lives left. These patterns are so hard. Oh, I almost died. How am I gonna do it? Oh yeah, that was good. Because they move back and forth so fast. Okay, I guess. Yeah, that would have been it. Now, yeah, okay. So you just have to look at the way it moves and then at just the right time. Another one of the moving walls. Here, at just the right time. So he goes that way and then that way. Yeah. I made it. Whew. Okay. Narrow passages, otherwise okay. A tentacle. It's looking very good. I think I might have still got an extra life again, because I'm at 5 lives again. A tentacle and that. So what I did to hover there was, instead of keeping up pressed, I pushed up. Stop pushing up. I'm out of dynamite. No. I have to shoot this wall. It's gonna cost time. I'm almost out of power down there. You can see the yellow power bar. But I think I can do this. No. It does feel like it sucks you in. Level 20. This is the final level of the game. 4 lives left. Let's see. Okay, so far so good. This looks good. No, this is impossible. I have to go over here. I'm just hovering at the very top of the room there. Okay, I'm going this way because the enemies are on the other side. Okay. Barely made it. Oh, this is tough. Okay, here is the pattern. Now. Oh, this enemy is even harder. How am I gonna get past? I did it. Whoa, barely made it. Okay. I think I'm getting close to the end of level 20. Whoa. I still have 4 dynamite sticks. There we go. That's another thing. Instead of running far away from the dynamite, you can just go down a little bit, then you are safe as well. 3 lives. No, 2 lives. I pushed the wrong direction. Okay, now, let's go down there. I can't do it. Last life. How am I gonna do this? Yep, I did it. That was not easy. Oh god, another one of these. I got an extra life at 180,000 points. Wow, 2 of these. This is a new technique I haven't used before. There's the final guy to rescue. I did it. I finished level 20 in H.E.R.O. I got 195,318 points, and now the game doesn't actually end. It switches to level Pro. So now what it does is it will cycle through random levels that I've already finished. That's what Pro means. And in principle now, I could play this game forever. But these are the levels, these are just the same levels I've already finished, only in a different sequence. That's weird. So another thing I like about this game, when you die, when an enemy kills you and you come back, you play your next life, that enemy will vanish. Or you might have seen that when one of those moving walls killed me. After I'm killed by it, then it is removed from the game. I think it's just to make it a little bit easier. I will see how far I can keep going, but now I could basically go on forever. So it's just a matter of seeing how far you can get before you die and see if you can get a higher score. But you will see no new rooms or new levels anymore. Only the stuff you've already seen now. But at least I got above 200,000. Level Pro. I think it will... I wonder if it will make me, at some point, if I keep playing like this, will it make me go through level 1 again? At some point? Probably not. I think it just chooses levels between, like, I don't know, 7 and 20 or so. I don't think it'll give me level 1 again. That would be too easy. Ah. 208,000. So the people who know this game very well, they play a tournament version of the game. So there's a special version made by the homebrew community, the demo scene community. I think it's called the TC or something, Tournament Edition, Championship Edition. And in that version of the game, you get no extra lives. So even if you get 20,000 points, you will not get an extra life. And then the game becomes even harder. Ooh. I want to take a closer look at the dynamite effect. Maybe in the next room, let's see. Here, let's look at this dynamite effect again. So how the room lights up when the dynamite is ignited. And then when it explodes, how it flashes. It's such a simple effect, but it's so cool. It adds to the game, makes you feel like you're in these dark caves. I think this is the highest score I've ever gotten in this game. Maybe I've played it too much. It's almost like, it almost feels like it's too easy now. Ooh, okay. Ah, I was impatient. You see, I started running back towards the dynamite. And then I was too close to it when it exploded. Ah. I didn't push down long enough to put the dynamite down. Okay, I didn't play very well in the last few rooms, but that's okay because I just wanted to show you the game. And now you've also seen all 20 levels of H.E.R.O, one of the best C64 games in my mind. Even though I've played through it now, I can play it over and over again. It's so much fun. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Let me know. Please like and subscribe if you like these types of videos. And also, if you have any memories of playing H.E.R.O, maybe as a kid, or if you have any thoughts on the game, please write a comment down below. I would really be interested what you think about this wonderful game. Bye-bye. Thank you.